107 days was more than enough time. That's a stupid excuse, in my view, that it wasn't enough time. If anything, our election should be like Britain and like other countries. They don't need 100 days. She was actually doing fine after the first few months.
Next time, have an actual primary where a woman candidate can prove her worth and not just be stuck in and nominated at the very last minute because you had a dotard running that you wouldn't fess up to.
Some Democrats still don't want to admit what's becoming obvious. Standing by one of their more controversial figures just isn't working anymore. But Bill Maher wasn't about to stay quiet on that. On a recent episode of Real Time, the blunt host openly challenged former DNC chair Donna Brazile, calling her out for what he saw as ignoring the facts. Maher made it clear, in his view, she was avoiding the truth, and he wasn't afraid to say it. Welcome to the channel where we break down the week's biggest political moments. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Now, let's jump in.
Are we more likely to see a conservative female president before a liberal one? Oh, that's an interesting question.
I think we'll see a Democratic. We've had three. We've had Geraldine Ferraro as a nominee, Hillary Clinton as a nominee, Kamala Harris as a nominee. We will have a Democratic female president in my lifetime.
I say.
And the asteroid will not hit her. She will deflect it, and with her superpowers, things will be okay.
Okay. Can I make one suggestion?
What?
Not a vice president named Tim.
Okay.
You know, enough with a lady in a Tim.
Okay.
Remember Tim Kaine?
Tim Kaine. Okay.
Tim Walz.
Okay.
The conversation started with a thoughtful question, and Donna Brazile gave a response worth noting. But we'll revisit that a little later. What really caught attention was how quickly she grouped Kamala Harris with well-known Democratic women like Hillary Clinton and Geraldine Ferraro. Now, whatever your opinion of Clinton, she brought real experience and leadership. Ferraro also had a strong political background. But putting Harris in the same category, that didn't quite sit right. Luckily, the rest of the panel seemed to feel the same way, and they didn't hesitate to challenge Donna's point of view.
Interesting how many global women leaders have come from the right. I mean, Britain's now had 3 conservative female prime ministers before it had a single Labour one. The current conservative leader is a young black woman called Kemi Badenoch.
Right.
Now, that's pretty amazing, I think. And it's lovely that no one really makes a big deal out of it.
Well,
Either we look at Merkel as a Christian Democrat, Indira Gandhi, Mayer, these are hard-ass women.
Hard-ass women.
And there's something about that Iron Lady kind of, I'm going to go to war with the whole feminine shtick that's kind of really potent in the human psyche.
Well, I think people think that a woman leader has to kind of overcompensate a little towards strength, and people are drawn to strength.
Landrew, Sullivan and Bill Maher didn't hold back. They pushed back on Donna Brazile's points with solid arguments and facts that were hard to ignore. But this conversation isn't just about U.S. politics. Around the world, more people are leaning toward conservative leadership. Whether it's due to financial concerns, cultural values, or a desire for stronger direction, right-leaning parties are gaining ground in many places. That shift often comes from frustration with progressive ideas that don't always seem connected to everyday issues. Still, let's be clear. The global trend doesn't fully explain why Kamala Harris has had trouble connecting with voters. As we'll explore next, her challenges go much deeper than party lines.
We have an actual primary where a woman candidate can prove her worth and not just be stuck in and nominated at the very last minute because you had a dotard running that you wouldn't fess up to?
Well, first of all,
isn't the DNC responsible for that?
That's not fair.
First of all, we had a primary.
I don't know, but it doesn't sound
Joe and Kamala did win enough delegates. 14 million people participated in it, and we should not disenfranchise those Americans.
It wouldn't be fair to say Kamala Harris completely fell short, but her time in the spotlight definitely raised some eyebrows. She sometimes laughed at strange, times gave unclear answers, and her speeches could be hard to follow. Instead of showing strong, confident leadership, she often seemed unprepared and distant, which is a big concern for someone in such an important role. Some Democrats say her struggles were due to only having 107 days to campaign, but the real issue wasn't the clock. It was her message and how she presented it. Bill Maher didn't sugarcoat it. He spoke plainly, pointing out what many others were hesitant to say.
So many wrong things said here by everybody. I'd like to correct some of them. She's not a dotard. Shirley Chisholm didn't get anywhere. That's to our point.
No,
It takes a different kind.
It lays some groundwork for others later.
107 days was more than enough time. That's a stupid excuse, in my view, that it wasn't enough time. If anything, our election should be like Britain and like other countries. They don't need 100 days. She was actually doing fine after the first few months.
These days, with constant media coverage on TV, radio, podcasts, websites, and social media, candidates don't need months to make an impression. Voters see them in interviews, clips, and debates all the time. So the idea that Kamala Harris didn't have enough time just doesn't hold up. She had more than enough visibility. What she lacked was a clear message and a natural connection with people. Her campaign felt all over the place. Her speeches were hard to follow, and she often looked uneasy in the public eye. In the end, the issue wasn't time, it was substance. And that's where things fell apart.
After winning 81 million votes, Donald Trump never conceded the election.
Correct.
Okay? He continued to lie. He continued to fabricate. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden won the hearts and minds of the American people, as well as the Electoral College, yet they were never given a mandate to do anything.
Hold on a second. Are we still talking about Kamala Harris? Or did the conversation suddenly shift to Donald Trump? How did a discussion about her campaign turn into another debate over the 2020 election? It felt like a classic diversion. When the argument started losing steam, the topic changed. It's a simple tactic. Instead of defending Harris based on her own record, they redirected the focus to a familiar political figure. But let's not get sidetracked. Let's roll the clip and keep the conversation moving forward.
Kamala Harris had to step up. Now, what other Democrat could have stepped up in that period of time?
We're not arguing about that.
All right,
We're
well
arguing
then.
the campaign she ran. They asked her what she would do differently. She said, I can't think of anything. That's terrible.
How do we trust a party that was telling us with a straight face that Joe Biden could be president for 4 more years without any problem whatsoever? That's what the Democrats were telling us. It was a massive lie. We saw through it. Everyone saw through it.
Donna Brazile tried to steer the conversation in a different direction, but Bill Maher wasn't letting that happen. The topic was Kamala Harris's weak campaign performance, not her willingness to take on the role. Still, Donna shifted the focus, praising Harris's bravery instead of addressing her struggles to connect with voters, lead effectively, or communicate clearly. Maher quickly brought the discussion back on track. It was a typical political sidestep, but he didn't let it pass. Donna tried to change the story, but this time, the facts spoke louder. And here's where things took a turn. Confusing, but honestly, kind of funny.
What does the panel think of Ellen leaving the country? Oh, this I find so fascinating because first Ellen is canceled by the left. I mean, she said I was kicked out of show business. That wasn't from the right. That was because she had a toxic workplace and all the things that the people are. So then Trump so she's canceled by the left in her country, but then she's leaving the country because the right got elected. I'm just asking about that. It doesn't completely compute, right?
Did she sell her house?
Do you think she's really going to leave?
Yes, she's already there.
Where?
And she announced it. England. Cotswold,
England.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I know. I've met her mother, and I don't think she would have agreed with that. The mother is very down to earth. Her mother.
She's always lived in LA, right?
Yes.
And now she's in the Cotswolds. Yeah. I give it like 4 months.
The situation with Ellen DeGeneres is a good example of how things work in certain parts of today's political culture. She faced serious backlash from her own supporters over workplace issues, yet she never really stepped away from that group, likely because it still plays a big role in how she sees herself. This isn't just about facts, it's about group loyalty. Some people tend to stick with familiar narratives instead of taking a hard look at what's really going on. Even when they're criticized by their own side, they stay committed. The bigger problem is that it becomes more about staying in line than being open to accountability. And anyone who thinks differently often faces pushback.
What does the panel make of the reaction to Trump suggesting we should reopen Alcatraz as a federal prison? No.
I will say, 2 of the best movies of all time are Escape from Alcatraz and The Rock. Great movies.
I know, but we shouldn't make policy from watching TV, should we? I mean, it's plain that he was. Isn't
that often what happens?
No. What, really? Oh. I mean, okay, and look, is it a big issue? No. First of all, it's probably never going to happen. I also must say, you know, I'm tired of hearing how this is the can't-do country. No, should we open Alcatraz? There's no reason to do it. But I heard the immediate reaction was, it's impossible because it's broken down. And
it's just stupid.
It's just stupid, but also, like, it's not impossible.
Bill made a sharp point. The idea of reopening Alcatraz was rejected mainly because Trump suggested it. If a Democrat had brought it up, the media might have called it smart reform. But because it came from Trump, it was dismissed right away. This shows a bigger problem. Too often, ideas are judged by who says them, not what they're about. That's not critical thinking. It's just following the crowd. From Donna Brazile dodging questions to Democrats blaming Trump and Ellen staying loyal to critics, it's all part of the same mindset. Bill Maher isn't afraid to call it out. And unless more people start judging ideas fairly, these mistakes will keep happening. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more.